Hi, heroes. Fasten your seatbelts, because Mighty Marvel is about to take you to a new dimension. It's the exciting, interactive dimension where you'll find your favorite Marvel heroes and villains on CD. Right before your eyes, we're about to turn your computer into a fantastic on-screen comic book, which will give you more than 80 pages of dazzling superhero action. Just look at all you're going to get. Your favorite Marvel thrillers with all new computer-enhanced coloring, plus extra backstory pages that weren't included in the original comics. Special panels offering exciting clips from Marvel's top-rated TV animated shows with fantastic interactive sound effects just for you. And would you believe that your own favorite superheroes will personally accompany you through each and every story? How can we give you so much, so fast, so generously? Hey, that's why our name is Marvel.
Marvel Comics presents Silver Surfer, The Coming of Galactus, Part 1. Somewhere in the deep vastness of outer space, an incredible figure hurtles through the cosmos. A being whom we shall call the Silver Surfer, for want of a better name. The Silver Surfer zooming along the starways like a living comet, with the freedom and wild abandon of the wind itself. As the majestic figure of the surfer soars through the boundless reaches of space, great consternation grows in the fifth quadrant of the Andromeda Galaxy, on the homeworld of the alien Skrulls. For the appearance of the surfer can only mean that soon shall come Galactus. What is his threat? What danger does he spell? Meanwhile, on Earth, the Fantastic Four complete the last leg of a fateful journey. The Fantastic Four return to New York only to see their sun on the horizon burgeon into two suns. The twin suns expand and swell until the entire sky is engulfed in a raging inferno. A quick landing later, and the FF arrive to a city in turmoil. Immediately, the Human Torch ignites to scout ahead for his teammates.
It's a flying barbecue. Hang on to your socks.
Secure for individual reconnaissance.
Roger. All secure.
Ditto.
Then prepare to disengage. Sampling fire for analysis.
Fire's no big deal for me. I'm gonna take it on face to face.
Your autopilot is now employed.
Thanks, babe. Flame on! Yeah!
Quickly reaching the heart of New York City, the Human Torch is shocked to see the citizens caught in the grip of fear. Immediately, the rabble blames the torch for the flaming fury in the sky. One group turns a high-pressure water hose on the fiery hero, dousing his flame instantaneously. As the unruly crowd moves in closer to attack the defenseless Johnny Storm, the rest of the Fantastic Four fly to the rescue aboard their high-speed jet cycle. Spying the youth's plight, the thing leaps heroically from the cycle, landing on the pavement below with a resounding crash and a cry of "It's clobberin' time!" The thing's battle cry stops the mob in their tracks, and Johnny Storm has momentarily spared their ravages. But there always seems to be one person in the crowd who doesn't quite understand when to call it quits. He throws his best sucker punch at an impatient Ben Grimm, but all it leaves him with is a bruised hand. Having disposed of his would-be attacker, Ben turns to find Johnny staring amazedly at the sky. It is no longer aflame. Just as the Thing wonders if Mr. Fantastic might have the answer to his conundrum, the rest of the Fantastic Four arrive. Reed is peppered with questions, and it's clear that the genius intellect of Mr. Fantastic is already pondering the answers as the quartet departs for the Baxter Building. Meanwhile, in space, the mysterious surfer heads in the direction of the Milky Way galaxy. As this strange space traveler continues on his voyage, he notices the sun, our sun. He realizes that it must contain among its satellites at least one planet with the elemental resources to appease the great Galactus. But on Earth, the FF carry on about their business, as yet unaware of the true danger that lurks ahead of them. All save Mr. Fantastic, who toils endlessly in his laboratory to find an answer to the seeming fiery cataclysm, much to his wife's chagrin. Susan Richards storms off, while Ben and Johnny stare out a window and are shocked to learn that the danger has not passed. The sky now appears to be filled with orbiting space debris, giant meteors that seem to shut out the sun itself. Perhaps the greatest scientific mind of all can come up with the answer, and hopefully before the world itself comes to an end. As Susan enters Reed's lab, she's astounded to see a bald-pated, strangely garbed giant of a man operating a bizarre-looking device. It is Uatu, the Watcher, and it is he who has been responsible for the phenomena that have panicked the citizens of the Earth. He explains his purpose. He meant to cloak the Earth from the notice of the Silver Surfer, the advanced scout for Galactus, the alien entity who exists by draining the very energy of the planets, thereby destroying them.
Flaming sky you created with your matter mobilizer terrified people.
That was not my intention. My sole purpose was simply to conceal the Earth from him.
The Watcher's grave concern is well warranted. At that very moment, the Silver Surfer soars effortlessly through the Watcher's space debris at speeds unimaginable. As he breaks through to Earth, the Human Torch prepares to turn him away. The torch is too slow to stop the lightning-quick Surfer. Landing atop the Baxter Building itself, the Surfer turns to signal Galactus with a burst of cosmic power. The Fantastic Four and the Watcher look on in dismay as the thing charges.
He is known as the Silver Surfer, a tortured soul forced to serve his merciless master throughout eternity.
A high-flying surfer dude. Truly far out.
Even as the thing takes a swing at the Surfer, Reed Richards admonishes his teammate for his rash action. The Surfer is no longer their problem, for Galactus is on his way. The Watcher informs the FF that the Surfer took advantage of the thing's punch to depart, and that Reed's assessment of the situation is indeed correct. Galactus is the ultimate danger, the final danger, not the Surfer.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
He will return. No fall can injure the Silver Surfer.
as if from nowhere, a giant mass of extraterrestrial machinery and technology fills the sky above. The testing devices from Galactus' space vessel. The alien menagerie commences to sample the elemental composition of the Earth, to discern whether the planet is suitable for Galactus' needs. The Watcher sees all, and sadly tells the awestruck Fantastic Four that Galactus must have found what he seeks. The planet is doomed. Their mission accomplished, Galactus' sampling devices withdraw into the core of the strange spacecraft. The ship looms closer and closer, and the Fantastic Four are stunned by its size, its vastness, but not as stunned as they are by the size, the vastness of the armored being who emerges from the vessel, a being who proclaims the Earth. Part 2. If this be doomsday. Galactus has landed on Earth. Humanity itself totters on the brink of destruction as the Fantastic Four look on, seemingly helpless before the awesome might of the planet devourer. The Watcher moves forward, confronting Galactus, but as the Thing remarks, he seems to be no match at all for the man who seeks to consume the Earth. For the first time, Galactus speaks, and he knows that it was the Watcher who conspired to hide the Earth from his hungry gaze. The Watcher argues forcefully that Galactus must not destroy the Earth, for it harbors intelligent life. Alas, Galactus offers, what are brief, nameless lives to one who dwells in the farthest reaches of the cosmos? As this intergalactic summit continues, the FF watch, realizing that they are of no consequence to Galactus.
Hear me, Galactus. Who are you who callously speaks my name? I am Muatu, the Watcher. I know what you are about to do, and I speak for planet Earth. This lush world needs no spokesman. It must appease my gnawing hunger. Wait. Open your mind, that you may share my thoughts.
They're exchanging the contents of their minds.
So, you see, there are billions of people here on Earth, plus teeming animal life. True, Watcher. That is why it shall be such a satisfying feast.
Galactus states that it's not his intention to harm any living creatures, but his insatiable hunger for energy must be met. If lives are lost in this process, it is regrettable, but unavoidable. That's all the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing's willing to listen to. He charges the demigod, but the mighty giant doesn't even flinch at the Thing's extra special Sunday punch. Instead, Galactus drops a strange capsule in front of Ben. The capsule explodes, releasing a noxious cloud of fumes. Reed likens the gas to a type of cosmic insect repellent. Galactus must regard them like some sort of bothersome gnats. Mr. Fantastic stretches to the thing's rescue, carrying him out of the way of the cosmic fumes. Then, with a cry of "Flame on!" Johnny Storm soars into action. A flaming blast shoots from his hands straight at Galactus. But to his surprise, Galactus merely absorbs the flames, and the giant's body begins to flare like the heart of a blazing sun. In a flash, the energy is dispersed, and the annoyed Galactus fires beams of cosmic power from his eyes at the torch. The eye-beams cause the electrons in the torch's flame to contract, effectively smothering the hot-headed hero. The Watcher motions for Johnny to join his teammates as Galactus inquires as to the whereabouts of his herald, the Silver Surfer. Moments later, inside the Baxter building, an infuriated, helpless Johnny encounters his sister Susan. He rages about his hopeless efforts, but Susan knows that Reed is busy concocting a plan. Meanwhile, across town, the Silver Surfer slowly recovers from the force of the thing's earlier blow. He had landed on a rooftop and now falls through a skylight, the skylight of one Alicia Masters, girlfriend of Benjamin J. Grimm. The blind sculptress discovers the form of the Silver Surfer lying on a nearby couch. As she touches his features, the Surfer revives. He speaks of his role as the Herald of Galactus and his extraterrestrial origins. Alicia cannot believe her ears. In his words, Alicia can sense a nobility and an unimaginable loneliness. Atop the Baxter building, the mighty Galactus assembles many varied objects which drift down from his orbiting spacecraft. The machines comprise the incredible planetary converting technology that will enable Galactus to drain the Earth of its very life force. It's time to act, and Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Girl, and the Thing race to stop Galactus before it's too late. But before they can press their attack, the Watcher stops them in their tracks and tells them to heed his words.
Such an abundance of elemental life energy. I shall feast as never before.
Wow, what's he doing?
Assembling his elemental converter, the device with which he will drain your planet of its very life.
Not today, he ain't. Hey,
I want to know more about our adversary before we commit to action.
With an effortless wave of his hand, the somber, towering figure causes a screen of light to appear on the wall. The Watcher then summons images of Galactus's elemental converter at work, plundering the Earth of its energy and mineral riches. Every sea will be dehydrated, every body of water left dry. Massive earthquakes will destroy all civilization. The Fantastic Four begin to realize at once the scope of Galactus's great destructive powers. Eventually, the Watcher notes, the human race will have nowhere left to go, and the Earth will be transformed into a lifeless, empty husk, so that Galactus may live to destroy other worlds. The Watcher then informs the FF that he has a plan, one that may save the Earth. There exists a machine, one that may save the human race. The Watcher must dispatch the Human Torch to retrieve it and bring it to Reed. Back at the abode of Alicia Masters, the Silver Surfer informs her about Galactus's intentions, how he will change the Earth into energy in order to survive. Alicia is horrified and delivers a moving speech about the sanctity of life and the beauty of Earth. Alicia... Back at the... Alicia continues her plea as the Silver Surfer watches the frightened people on the street below. He begins to feel the emotion men call pity. Atop the Baxter Building once more, Galactus prepares the deadly elemental converter for its lethal mission. While the world watches breathlessly, two igniters in the converter are connected, but the converter fails to operate. Galactus stares in disbelief. Never in 1,000 millennia has the converter failed.
Who is it? I felt someone watching me, and now you've come in uninvited. But for some reason, I'm not afraid. Yes, I sense goodness, a selfless nobility, and a strange sadness. I've not felt that combination before, except in my dear Ben. Do you have a name?
Once, long ago. Now they call me the Silver Surfer. I am not of your world. It is not right that I communicate with you now. I must go.
No, please, stay. Such a weariness in your voice. A rest will be good for you.
You are concerned for the comfort of a stranger?
We are all strangers until we meet.
With an ear-splitting bellow of rage, Galactus turns his attention toward the converter, only to find the Thing ripping the evil machinery to shreds. The Thing's own fury matches that of Galactus, and he even succeeds in felling the planet-devouring giant. Quickly, Mr. Fantastic molds himself into a cannonball shape, and the Thing hurls him at Galactus, knocking him off the roof hard enough to reach the river. But the blow does little good, for Galactus has contained within his armor an anti-gravity device which allows him to stop in midair. Having endured enough annoyance from those he terms puny space insects, Galactus points a massive finger at his starship, summoning one who might deal with his adversaries. Moments later, a heavily armed being, half robot, half alive, appears. The alien creature called the Punisher.
It's clobbering time! What is this? Welcome to the fish fry, pal! Only we're all out of fish! So I'm cooking your tootsie! You damaged my converter. I can't hear you. Talk into the microphone. You dare interfere. Meddlesome microbes. You have disrupted my cosmic timetable for the last time.
Far below, Johnny Storm looks on with the Watcher. Only by journeying to a distant world, says the Watcher, can Johnny Storm hope to retrieve the one object that may yet stop the machinations of Galactus. Realizing that the Watcher's plan may hold the key to saving their world, Johnny agrees to travel to the strange world via time-space distortion. In seconds, the Human Torch travels into the center of infinity with the Watcher at his side.
There is but one object which can stop him.
What?
Where is it?
Hey, use the doohickey now!
What is it?
It can only be found in a place infinitely distant from this world, in a region my people call the Eye of Infinity. Only the Boy of Fire has the ability to risk the far journey to that deadly realm. But Biagon, you must not allow Galactus to begin feeding. The survival of your world depends on it.
With the Watcher guiding him, the Human Torch soars across the vastness of space, avoiding terrifying obstacles such as the celestial barriers called unlife. The Watcher explains that Johnny was chosen for this mission, for only he could fly safely through such obstacles. Soon, the intrepid duo beholds an almost indescribable sight. A gargantuan space station, the home planet of Galactus.
barrier of the region of unlife. Do not touch the dark swirling clouds, or you are lost. Your destination lies ahead. Earth and your friends have but little time left to live. Hurry! Hurry! There. You have reached your destination, the home of Galactus. The object you seek is deep within the 7th chamber of the 7th level. Touch nothing else, not a wall, not a floor, nor a projecting antenna, or you will cease to exist. Time is fleeting. Hurry!
Meanwhile, countless galaxies away, the remaining members of the Fantastic Four tackled the robotic might of the Punisher. With tremendous ease, the Punisher forces back the super-strong thing, landing blow after blow. Reed and Sue look on as the thing struggles with his inhuman attacker, as Ben lands what should be a crushing blow. To his surprise, the thing finds the Punisher still standing. His might proves little match for the Punisher, leaving Reed Richards to stretch into action, trying to contain the robot. But his effort is to no avail, for the Punisher begins to whip his arms around at unbelievable speeds. He becomes a whirling dervish of destruction. Only Sue's quick thinking and her invisible force fields save her teammates. Exactly 2 seconds later, ensconced within the safety of Sue's force field, the thing rages. But Reed reminds his friend they mustn't exhaust themselves against the Punisher. It is Galactus who is the enemy. Thankfully, Sue's force field holds, and Galactus orders the Punisher to withdraw. He has held the FF at bay long enough, allowing his master to complete his work. The dreaded elemental converter is ready once more. As the FF ponder their next move, Alicia Masters and the Silver Surfer continue their discussion. She implores the Skyrider to use his vast cosmic powers to defy Galactus and save the Earth. The Surfer cannot believe his ears at first, but he has come to trust this courageous Earthwoman. Even though it means he must do battle with his master, the Silver Surfer swears that he shall stop Galactus from destroying this planet. Mounting his board, he soars to the Baxter Building. The Watcher observes.
For the first time, I suddenly regret that which I must do. I cannot bear the thought of the fate such noble beings as you will suffer. Yet I am sworn to serve my intractable master.
Part 3. The Startling Saga of the Silver Surfer. As Galactus readies his giant machines for their dreadful task, The mighty Silver Surfer flies towards his master and beseeches him to stop. For the first time, the Surfer realizes the horror of Galactus's plans. But the giant glares at his herald disdainfully. For of what consequences are these puny creatures, this miserable planet, to Galactus? Still safe within Sue's invisible cocoon, the Fantastic Four witness the awesome spectacle of battle between two cosmic-powered beings. Galactus is thunderstruck. The mere thought of his herald betraying him to save these Earth creatures is beyond his comprehension. The battle rages, each entity hurling bolts of searing cosmic energy at one another, as the Silver Surfer continues his desperate plea. Understanding that Galactus will not listen to his words, the Surfer encases his master in an ever-solidifying cocoon of cosmic energy. The Fantastic Four approach the imprisoned Galactus, and the thing reaches out to touch the cocoon. As the silent seconds tick by, a dazed Susan Richards slowly releases her protective force field. The Fantastic Four approach the imprisoned Galactus, and the thing reaches out to touch the cocoon, but it begins to crack. The cocoon continues to shatter, and Galactus emerges. If the Silver Surfer proved powerless against him, the Invisible Girl notes, then what chance could the FF possibly have? They're immediately distracted, however, as the battle rages on. The Surfer hurls bolt after bolt of energy at Galactus, who merely uses his impenetrable absorber shield to deflect his former herald's attack. In turn, the nigh-omnipotent Galactus hurls a barrage of energy at the Surfer as he demands the Sky Rider's allegiance once more. But the Surfer refuses, and the Watcher wonders how this noble man can hope to sway his master before it's too late. The FF demand to know how their fiery teammate fares, and the Watcher reveals that even now he is guiding the Human Torch home with the weapon which could spare humanity from an awful fate.
Oh, I beseech you, spare this planet and seek sustenance elsewhere.
What? My herald dares petition his master? Chrome Dome is back, and this time it sounds like he's on our side.
I shall find you even more succulent worlds than this Earth to devour. Planets on which no innocent lives need be lost to satisfy your hunger. Do this for me, who has served you long and faithfully. I implore you.
I cannot. The great hunger is upon me, and it must be assuaged. Now stand aside.
No. If I must choose between you and Earth, the Surfer stands with Earth.
Then the Surfer must fall, for Galactus may not be defied.
Even as the Watcher stands, peering into the heavens, the Human Torch is unerringly led through a pathway to subspace, the only entrance back to his own universe. Through the treacherous bands of unlife, he soars once again, and at last the valiant youth re-enters his own time continuum. The Human Torch is once more atop the Baxter Building, reunited with his teammates. Immediately, Reed rushes to Johnny. They need the secret weapon, and now! Johnny is in a state of near shock as he slowly begins to comprehend the magnitude of where he has been, what he has seen. Reed takes the weapon from Johnny and turns to the Watcher, who verifies that this indeed is the device that can stop Galactus. But, he admonishes, it must never be set on full power. It could erase the entire solar system in 1 microsecond. The Watcher instructs Reed on the weapon's use as the Silver Surfer and Galactus remain locked in conflict. Galactus decides that the only way he can force the Surfer to cease his attack is by imperiling the human beings he is so nobly defending. The Surfer presses on, and Galactus readies himself for what he has been dreading. The destruction of his favorite herald. Just then, the outstretched arm of Mr. Fantastic confronts Galactus with the ultimate nullifier. Even the mighty Galactus trembles at its sight. He begs Reed to put it down. Frightened and furious, Galactus realizes that only the Watcher could have delivered this weapon into the hands of these meddlesome insects.
Oh! Johnny! You're back!
Are you all right, son?
How'd you... Hey, kid, did you get the gizmo?
He has it, but I must instruct you in its use if it is to be of value. Quickly, Reed. It operates on the same principle as your Fantastic-R propulsion system, only far more complex.
Hold it there, Galactus.
The ultimate nullifier.
Galactus begins to understand what a valiant and noble race inhabits this planet. Realizing his plight, Galactus agrees to leave the Earth untouched in exchange for the ultimate nullifier. Reed hands the most destructive weapon in the universe over to Galactus, and as good as his word, Galactus prepares to leave, but not before he removes the space-time powers of his former herald.
You, my once and former herald, I hereby exile you to the planet you have saved. No longer shall you soar the endless skyways for the rest of your days. I condemn you to this minor galaxy.
With this action, the towering figure of Galactus is transformed into a living, raging fury of pure power, as the very atoms in the air seem to crackle in elemental disarray. Galactus departs via dimensional displacement as forces beyond the limits of comprehension are employed. The Fantastic Four avert their gaze from this unbelievable sight. As suddenly as he arrived, Galactus is gone. Nothing remains of Galactus's equipment, and Reed wonders aloud if the world will ever know how close it came to an almost incomprehensible fate. The Thing then looks around for the Silver Surfer, who turns his cosmic-powered gaze on these brave beings who fought to save their planet. Just then, Alicia Masters races across the rooftop of the Baxter building. But instead of running to the waiting arms of Ben Grimm, she rushes to the Surfer. The two seem to have struck a bond with one another, and Alicia's impressed by the Surfer's proud nobility. The Thing glowers. He feels like an ape next to the gleaming gladiator called the Silver Surfer. He skulks off by himself. But Ben has left before he can hear Alicia's admiring words. It is clear that she did not intend to hurt him so. As she enters the Baxter building to follow the others, the Silver Surfer says goodbye for now. For though the stars are now denied this noble alien, his place lies in the skies above. Almost faster than the eye can follow, the glistening figure zooms off, borne aloft by the free-flowing currents of the wandering winds. Someday, the Silver Surfer thinks to himself,
How do you know about Chrome Dome?
I told her. It was Alicia who convinced me your planet was worth saving. Though I have lost the freedom of the stars, I do not regret my choice. And now I must see what this galaxy has to offer. We shall surely meet again.
Part 4. The Origin of the Silver Surfer. High over the roof of the world he soars, free and unfettered as the roaring wind itself. Behold the sky-born spanner of 1,000,000,000,000 galaxies, the restless, streaking stranger from the farthest reaches of space, this glistening, gleaming seeker of truth, whom man shall call forevermore the Silver Surfer. Suddenly, unexpectedly, before the Silver Surfer's very gaze, a blazing, out-of-control space capsule hurtles down from orbit. As the capsule plunges into the ocean depths, the surfer follows, for he realizes that the capsule will not emerge, and the oxygen within shall soon disappear. Like a flash, the surfer embarks on his undersea rescue mission. A simple burst of the power cosmic opens the capsule's hatch, allowing the surfer to free the unconscious astronaut inside. Seconds later, the surfer and his charge pierce the surface of the water and see a squadron of aircraft overhead. The overzealous squadron leader automatically assumes that the surfer is responsible for the capsule's faulty entry and believes he has kidnapped the astronaut instead of rescued him. The surfer descends to a nearby aircraft carrier and drops off Colonel Jameson, the astronaut whom he's rescued. Again, the military believe the surfer responsible for the mishap and fail to comprehend how the surfer could have rescued their astronaut. But never mind, they say. Leave the surfer to their armed jets. The Silver Surfer is incredulous. In every part of the world, it is all the same. The Silver Surfer is incredulous. In every part of the world, it is all the same. Neither missiles nor the meaningless misunderstandings of the human race can halt the surfer's progress, nor can they stifle the longing in his tortured soul. He soars to the heights of the Himalayas as he ponders this strange planet called Earth and the seemingly uncontrollable insanity of mankind. How much longer, he wonders, shall he be forced to endure the confines of this mad world? How much longer before the surfer can once again seek out his destiny in the stars? How much longer, he wonders, before he once more stands upon the planet of his birth, Zenla? Zenla, he recalls, a world where war, crime, and illness are but distant memories. All goals have been achieved. Nothing remains. And yet, Norenrad, the man who would become the Silver Surfer, is despondent, for he believes that man was meant to strive, to struggle, to yearn for something greater. As the surfer drifts through his memories, he remembers how his people had lost the spirit of high adventure, the thrill of exploration, the longing to see beyond the veil of knowledge. He ponders how all the citizenry can be peaceful and content while he, Norenrad, is not. He approaches Zenla's Museum of Antiquities to relive a moment of Zenla's untamed past, to the dawn of time, to witness events that tried the souls of men. Through virtual technology, Norenrad is transported to his planet's primordial past, where he witnesses his ancestors locked in unceasing conflict. He gazes upon the 10,000-century age of warfare, conflict so fierce that those of Zenla renounced the use of arms forever. The golden age of reason followed. 100 centuries which brought peace, knowledge, and wisdom to the beleaguered planet. But it is the early days of space travel that consume young Norenrad. Instantaneously, the museum's mental transportation element gives Rad the true sensation of being present at the launching of one of Zenla's mighty starships, ages ago during the days of the planet's early space program. Their greatest heroes were the fearless space-spanning astronauts, the time-honored astro-pioneers to whom no journey was too far, no world too forbidding. But suddenly, the space program ended. His people had probed the cosmos, set their flag upon 1,000 galaxies, and they no longer cared. They had seen too much, gone too far, and as suddenly as it started, the age of space travel died. The surfer rouses from his melancholy memories and muses on how the planet he is now on, Earth, is at a crossroad. He's startled by the appearance of the wild, savage snow-dwellers called the Yeti. They immediately rush to attack the surfer. Even these poor creatures have been so hounded, so ruthlessly hunted that they fear any who invade their desolate domain. They tear into the surfer, who can only be moved to pity these beings, not wishing to harm them. He summons his indestructible board, which momentarily distracts the warring Yetis. Then, with but a thought, the board leaps to its master, and the surfer is airborne once more. Yet where will the surfer go? The reaches of space long since denied him. The surfer also believes there is no place on Earth for him to be content. Everyone seems to be filled with fear and distrust. Even those he has befriended have turned against him. He remembers the kinship he once felt with the Incredible Hulk and how he rescued him from the savage military of mankind. Wishing to call him friend, the surfer was startled to see the Hulk charging him. Once again, a tormented figure turned on the surfer, necessitating the use of a mild dose of the power cosmic to turn the emerald behemoth away. The surfer also remembers others he's tried to befriend, such as Dr. Doom. The doctor had made the surfer welcome within the walls of Castle Doom. While the surfer told Von Doom of the unhappy circumstances which had led him to Latveria in the first place, the cunning doctor struck without mercy, stripping the surfer of his cosmic sky-spawned powers. As Dr. Doom vowed to use the stolen power to conquer all mankind, the surfer vowed he could never again trust another human being. And he knew there was no refuge for him on Earth. But the surfer persevered, and in the end it was the armored arch-fiend who tasted grim defeat. The surfer snaps out of his reminiscing and whispers to himself that never again shall he call anyone master. From the sky, the surfer then spots an ancient entrance hewn into the very rock of a frozen mountain. The surfer blasts his way into the entrance when he spies something that defies explanation. Amongst the ruins inside the cavern, there once existed a city, prosperous and proud. As the surfer walks through the fallen city around him, he muses how each civilization grows, enjoys a brief moment of glory, only to sink into the dust of history. Is it but in desolation, the surfer wonders aloud, that man can find the peace he seeks? He is again confronted with his memories of Zenla and the beautiful, tear-stained face of his beloved Shall Bal. He seems to hear her gentle voice as he recalls the events of that fateful day on Zenla. The two young lovers speak of the hunger that gnaws at Norenrad, of his desire to journey beyond the farthest star. But it is difficult for Shall Bal to comprehend, for there is no treasure in all the universe, she argues, that cannot be found on Zenla. But paradise unearned, Noren retorts, is but a land of worthless shadows. No longer can he bear the sight of his fellow man in pursuit of endless, empty pleasure, or even knowledge, which can be absorbed in minutes by their hypo-powered study cubes. Even their government is a mockery, since Zenla is truly governed by computers. Wistfully, Noren states that his is a lost and lonely voice, and there are none to listen to him. moment destined to change the course of countless lives and worlds, that the fateful interruption occurred. The citizens' alarm had sounded. For the first time in a millennium, a gigantic alien spacecraft had entered the galaxy, headed straight for Zenla. As the government warned its citizens to prepare for invasion, Shall Bal fell into a panic. But Norrin calmed her instantly, his courage grounding her. Perhaps the danger is what Zenla needed, to remind them of their proud heritage. As the startled Zenlavians observed the alien spacecraft, Norrin Radd knew that somehow his fate was inextricably linked to the unknown invader from space. Outside, the citizens of Zenla were gripped with fear of the strange spaceship, running for cover in blind panic. The government turned to their incredible system of computers to provide the answer, and provide a solution to save Zenla. But even they could offer no hope. But as the mysterious vessel seemed to blot out the very sky itself, the computers had reached a decision. They urged the Zenlavians to employ the weapon supreme, a weapon that wielded cobalt energy so destructive that it could destroy Zenla in the process. At the press of a button, it was done. The shimmering cobalt beam erupted from the weapon supreme, laying waste to neighboring planets as it exploded upon the alien spacecraft. Weapon Supreme still caused smashing, shattering, planet-wide destruction. The citizens believed the spacecraft to be destroyed. They were dismayed to find this was not the case. Their foe had taken instant refuge in the fourth dimension, only to reappear. Their only weapon was exhausted, and still the spacecraft loomed. Truly, this was Zenla's darkest hour. Defenseless, without hope, the citizens of Zenla believed they could only wait to meet their fate and the coming of their conqueror. In all the world was there no one who could help them. As if in answer to that question, Norrin Radd roused his beloved Shall Bal. We still have our lives, he urged. Our unconquerable spirit. We must fight, as our ancestors would have done. With iron determination, Norrin and Shall Bal sought through the debris and sea of displaced humanity, looking for those who would close ranks to make a final stand for Zenla. was none to be found. Only the injured, the ailing, the weak, and the timid. And then, beneath the rubble, Norrin spied one of the Council of Scientists. He freed him and beseeched him for a spacecraft to confront the alien invader. The scientist insisted that the situation was hopeless, but Norrin would hear none of it. Impressed by the youth's courage and his desire to defend his home world, the scientist agreed to help Norrin Rad. Quickly summoning others, the elderly scholar gathered the necessary material, and through the use of a mental constructor, Norrin Rad soon had his spacecraft. There was no time for goodbyes, as Norrin fired up the craft heading towards the stars in a confrontation that would alter his life for all time. Ages ago, 1,000 times 1,000 would have begged to fly that ship, the scientist uttered. But now, there is only Norrin Rad. As Norrin approached the alien craft, he was overwhelmed by its sheer size. He tried in vain to communicate with the vessel and was soon drawn inside the hulking shape. A bizarre network of lights and swirling patterns danced all around Norrin Rad as he left the confines of his own tiny spacecraft. He walked seemingly forever in the direction of the brightest light, when he suddenly was struck down by a bolt of unseen force. The source of the blast had come from Galactus, the merciless planet destroyer. He whose name was legend throughout 1,000 star clusters. Galactus commanded Norrin Rad to rise. He knew why the Zenlavian had come, and informed him that his effort had been in vain. Galactus craved the energy of Zenla, and he would have it. Norrin was horrified, and beseeched Galactus to spare his world. Galactus told Norrin that he did not desire to harm anyone. But he must consume Zenla if he were to continue his own existence. The unfortunate loss of human life could not bother the mighty Galactus. Norrin begged Galactus to seek out another world, one that bore no intelligent life. But Galactus had not the time to comply. For that, he would require a herald, one who could seek out these worlds for him. It was then that Norrin Rad realized what must be done, and he made Galactus an offer. If a herald you desire, he uttered, then a herald I shall be. With but a few words, Norrin Rad offered his own life in order to spare his world of Zenla. Galactus was intrigued by the offer, and reminded Norrin that if he assumed the mantle of herald to Galactus, he would do so forevermore. There was nothing to consider, and Norrin Rad offered his lifelong allegiance to the mighty demigod. Cosmic energy, the likes of which he had never seen, began to caress and surround Norrin Rad. As Galactus's booming voice echoed through the very core of his being, Rad felt his body being transformed. He was enveloped in a silvery cocoon as his body was rearranged on a molecular level. "You who have been Norrin Rad shall be so nevermore," thundered Galactus. Prepare yourself. Prepare to be reborn. Cosmic vapors filled the air. Energy crackled as the powerful hand of Galactus beckoned to he who was Norrin Radd. Again, in his thundering tones, the planet devourer spoke to his herald. At the command of Galactus, you have fallen. And now, at my command once again, I bid you The man who was Norrin Radd stared at his silvery skin, a protective coating that would shield him from the chilling emptiness of airless space and the all-consuming inferno of the hottest sun. With a gesture, Galactus then provided his new herald with an indestructible flying board to be controlled by thought alone. Now and forevermore, began Galactus, you are truly the Silver Surfer. Immediately the herald set out on his duty to find a world to assuage the great Galactus's hunger. Furthest reaches of outer space were now the Silver Surfers to explore. The sense of freedom, the wonders of the cosmos were finally opened to he who was Norrin Radd. A lifetime of endless adventure beckoned before the Silver Surfer. But before he began the longest journey of all, there was one to whom the surfer must bid farewell. The beautiful Shall Bal. She knew instinctively that the surfer was truly Norrin Radd, just as she had sensed he was leaving, perhaps for all time. It was true. The surfer confirmed that he would never see Shall Bal again. She begged the surfer to take her, but he knew this could not be. For where soars the Silver Surfer, there he must soar, alone. The surfer reflects upon his early days as herald, steering Galactus away from planets that harbored intelligent life, and trying to unlock the secrets of the universe. He recalls his fateful encounter that day on Earth, the day that the surfer first defied Galactus, the day that the surfer met a brave group of humans called the Fantastic Four, who showed this strange visitor how glorious it can be to have a cause worth dying for, the day that the surfer helped these courageous humans to thwart the dread desire of Galactus. But his newfound conscience and emotions did not come without a price. For an enraged Galactus focused a tiny portion of his power on the surfer and removed his space-time capabilities. No longer could the surfer soar into the limitless void of space. Once more the surfer resurfaces from the font of his memories to ponder his fate on this lonely Earth. He who has crested the waves of infinity, exiled forever on a hostile world. Part 5. Escape to Terror. Safely hidden atop the towering Himalayas, in a lonely, long-lost land, tortured by his own anguished thoughts, sits the Silver Surfer. Is this the way it must always end? Is this how it must be? He thinks to himself, dwelling in exile, never again to reach the stars that he once called home. Just as it seems the surfer might sink deeper into his fit of pique, the man who was Norrinrad stands, looking over the remains of a long-forgotten civilization. He reminds himself that the power cosmic is still his to command, and that life and strength flow through his veins. For man was born with the gift of hope eternal. Why should the surfer not hope, not try to improve his lot in life? Cursing the fate bestowed upon him by his former master Galactus, the surfer summons his indestructible board to his side once more. For it is time for the surfer to soar again. Skyward he rises, through the atmosphere, traveling at incalculable speeds, racing for an unseen barrier that surrounds Earth, a barrier that holds only one man prisoner, the Silver Surfer, a barrier that Norrinrad vows to break through. Higher, faster, ever faster, the Silver Surfer streaks until at last he reaches that which Galactus created, the barrier. Never before has the surfer flown so fast, with so much fury. Surely this time it must crack, crumble before his power. But no! The shock is incredible as the surfer careens off the unseen barrier. Stands, and even as he plummets earthward, the surfer knows that he remains a captive of the planet below. It seems that once again his proud destiny among the cosmos is denied. As he regains his composure and his surfboard, Norrinrad sees a sight which triggers in him renewed hope, for the barrier flickers and flashes as if it could be weakening. He turns to see a thin beam of laser energy erupting from the Earth, which seems to be affecting the barrier. With the speed of thought, the soaring skyrider of the spaceways hurtles westward, crossing the majestic Atlantic Ocean in fractions of seconds. Tracking the source of the beam, the surfer arrives at the Baxter Building, home of his only friends on Earth, the Fantastic Four. On the roof of the Baxter Building, the FF are readying an alpha beam apparatus, a massive device that is of great concern to Reed Richards. The surfer announces his presence, and Reed Richards is excited. He hoped the surfer would see the energy beam he directed. While the planets are in the proper configuration, Reed theorizes, it might be possible for Reed to breach Galactus's barrier, but it can only be done once. The surfer cannot believe it. To reach across galaxies once more, to be with his beloved Shall Bal. The surfer, caught in his reverie, hears the voice of Alicia Masters, and the two share a tender goodbye. Within seconds, the surfer soars once more, followed by Reed Richards and the Thing in the Fantastic Car. As they slice through Earth's atmosphere and approach Galactus's barrier, Reed radios to the Invisible Girl to set the Alpha Ray booster, and the heroes prepare for a momentous occasion. The surfer streaks ahead at Mach speed. As Sue activates the Alpha Ray booster, Reed turns to the surfer. As the Alpha beam is fired, the surfer must match its speed. The surfer summons all his cosmic charged might, all his speed as he hurtles toward the barrier, and what could be certain doom? The surfer and his beam strike at precisely the same moment. He makes it through. Madly zooming, careening, spinning wildly out of control, the surfer lies motionless, savoring his newfound freedom with rapture and disbelief. The grateful surfer realizes that he has at last breached Galactus's barrier. Then, like a blazing comet, the surfer soars into the reaches of space. The FF look on, with only good wishes for their friend. Free! Free at last to taste once more the adventure of soaring through endless space. With thoughts of Shall Bal filling his being, the surfer speeds toward Zenla. Neither the awesome cold of worlds without sun, nor the searing, planet-melting heat of a red giant star shall prevent the surfer from going home. surfer soars. How could it be possible to tell when his speed surpasses that of light itself? Ever onward he travels, until he sees that which he holds in his heart most dearly, Zenla. He descends through the atmosphere, yet he is filled with foreboding. Never has he seen such grim and heavy clouds, and when he reaches the surface, he is shocked in disbelief. The land he loved, the home he longed for, has become a smoldering, seething inferno, a blazing, lifeless ruin. The ground is a charred husk. Strange rock-like formations erupt from its surface. There is no sign of the incredibly advanced civilization that had once been the pride of the galaxy. Zenla has been destroyed. Dazed, uncomprehending, swept by an aura of shock, the surfer lands upon the charred and tortured surface. Only his indomitable will can keep his emotions in check, keep him from venting his unbearable grief. There is no sign of life, nothing but stark, total destruction. The surfer has to wonder, can it be so? Is this the final fate of Zenla? Or is he going mad? Then suddenly, without warning, the surfer is struck by a bolt of searing energy. As though awakened from a dream, the rage and fury still seething in his heart, the surfer strikes back like a demon possessed. One savage searing blast of the power cosmic finds its mark, downing the attacking spacecraft. But before he can unleash another attack, the surfer is stupefied, grief-stricken to learn that the spacecraft is a Zenla patroller. Like a careening meteor, the surfer soars beneath and catches the falling Zenlavian pilot. Why would this man attack the surfer without provocation? Has reason fled from Zenla? It is then that he notices another spacecraft streaking away from him. But the surfer must have answers to all that he has seen, and so he soars after the craft, the pilot in his arms. If there are ships to fly, the surfer reasons, and men to fly them, then Zenla must still live. At last, on the far side of the planet, the surfer finds his theory proven right. He spies a city, vast and sprawling. But the buildings all seem like crude and primitive refugee camps the surfer has seen on Earth. As the surfer lands, he encounters a large group of Zenlavians cloaked in tatters. Where stand the glistening cities? He asks. Where are the proud and noble people? The refugees glare at the surfer with unbridled hostility. They surround him, closing in. Some shout, "How dare you walk among us again?" But did he who was Norenrad not save them from the fury of Galactus? The mob will hear no more, and as they call him betrayer, they attack with a savageness that startles even the Silver Surfer. As he tries to free himself without harming his attackers, the Surfer sees out of the corner of one eye an elderly man with a cane. It is the father of Shall Bal. With a gesture, he throws off his attackers and rushes to the old man's side. "What has happened?" he asks. "Where is Shall Bal?" Bal is infuriated. "How dare the Surfer ask of her? For," he claims, "it is the evil Surfer who is touched by madness." Bal agrees to tell the Surfer what has happened, to remind all of the Surfer's treachery. It all began on the fateful day when Galactus returned to Zenla. Galactus descended to the surface, informing the citizens of proud Zenla that the Surfer had betrayed him. Thus was their planet forfeit. Zenla would be consumed by Galactus, but not wishing to cause needless deaths, he gave the citizens 24 hours to depart their planet. Because of the treachery of Norenrad, the population of an entire planet had 24 hours to complete the greatest exodus in history. And at the appointed hour, Galactus had assembled his elemental converter. The living energy of Zenla was devoured, laying waste to the once beautiful planet. Once more had Galactus been nourished by a planet stripped bare of its precious resources, its very life force. Months later, when the heat, the smoke, and the stench had subsided, the remnants of a once vast armada returned to the devastated world. How can the Surfer even wonder why he is now so despised? It is then that the Surfer also learns that his beloved Shall Bal is on Zenla no more. But where could she be gone to? Andar Bal reveals that his daughter has been taken by he who came from nowhere like a wraith, a creature of darkness and evil enchantment. Even his name, Mephisto, had the smell of fire and brimstone. "Mephisto!" cries the surfer, "the Lord of Evil!" Instantly forgotten is the smoldering husk of Zenla and the hatred of its inhabitants. Only Shall Bal matters as the surfer streaks into space. Hurtling through space once more, the surfer desperately attempts to fit Andar Bal's story into his own tormented fragments of memory. That day on Earth in Latveria, when he saw a poster announcing the wedding of Dr. Doom to Shall Bal. Though the woman claimed not to be the surfer's long-lost love, the surfer did not believe her. But once more was he shattered, for it seemed this woman indeed was not his love. Now, realizes the surfer, the real enemy was never Galactus or Dr. Doom. The true enemy was Mephisto, the Lord of Evil. Arriving in a subterranean lair deeper and more remote than the human mind can imagine, the foul Mephisto follows a glittering white figure streaking earthward once more. Mephisto chuckles coldly to himself, pleased that the surfer finally realizes who is responsible for his present woes. The surfer shall defy him no more, for this time, with his body crushed and his spirit broken, the surfer's very soul will belong to Mephisto. Unaware that his every move is being watched by Mephisto, the surfer travels to Earth, certain that his beloved Shall Bal is there. And though Reed Richards told him that he must never return, or he shall be trapped forever by the barrier of Galactus, return he does. The skyways and stars are meaningless to the surfer without Shall Bal. Without a second's hesitation, the surfer plunges through the barrier, arriving in Latveria at the stronghold of Dr. Doom. The surfer soars to Dr. Doom's castle, yet he does not sense the presence of the malevolent dictator. That hardly matters, for he believes Shall Bal to be trapped within the walls of the castle. With a burst of energy, the surfer gains entrance, only to be confronted by the ruler's Doombots. But they are no match for one who wields the power cosmic. Several floors below, in the sprawling kitchen, a young servant woman lifts a basket heavy with vegetables, until a thundering, rumbling sound catches her attention. In a deafening burst of cosmic power, the Silver Surfer appears in the remains of a smoking doorway. The surfer sees the servant woman and believes her to be Shall Bal, but the woman is afraid of the gleaming stranger. surfer approaches the frightened woman, wishing only to help her to regain her memory, to cure her so they can be together once more. The woman is too afraid. She claims never to have known the surfer. As she backs herself into a corner, the shadows behind her begin to distort, to change, until they solidify into the demonic form of the dread Mephisto. The Prince of Evil takes Shall Bal, and though the surfer implores him to release her, he refuses. For as long as he has Shall Bal, so is the surfer totally helpless. Only through her can he gain his ultimate triumph over the Skyrider. Using his eerie powers, Mephisto returns to his netherworld dimension. But where he goes, the power cosmic shall follow. As the surfer travels to the Lord of Evil's dimension, he thinks to himself, "For Shall Bal, I'd battle 100 Mephistos. I'd descend to 1,000 nether worlds." Awaiting the arrival of his foe, Mephisto stands before a sea of flames, an entranced Shall Bal by his side. And then, as if on cue, the surfer arrives, commanding Mephisto to release his love. Mephisto claims he does not hold Shall Bal by force, but it's obvious to the surfer that his beloved has been entranced. The time for words has passed, and as the surfer soars to attack, he pledges his life to save that of Shall Bal's. But it is not his life that Mephisto craves. It is the surfer's soul. Mephisto looses upon the surfer demons from the deepest pits of the netherworld. Mephisto's demons begin to drain the surfer's life essence. Soon, when naught remains but the merest flicker of identity, Mephisto will gain that which he seeks most. As his triumph seems near, Mephisto lifts the veil of forgetfulness from Shall Bal so he can revel in her grief. The agony of the surfer and Shall Bal fills Mephisto with glorious rapture. As Mephisto watches the surfer's seemingly hopeless struggle with the demons, he also gloats over a weeping Shall Bal. She tries to avert her eyes, but it matters not. Mephisto's foul voice echoes through her being, filling her with despair. Surely the greatest joy in doing evil is to be rewarded by the sight of those who suffer its consequences. Suddenly, a mighty roar wipes out the sound of Mephisto's fiendish gloating. Molten rock erupts as the form of the gleaming Silver Surfer once more stands before Mephisto. Mere cackling demons could not hope to overwhelm the power cosmic. The Surfer charges at Mephisto, hope swelling within his heart. The ultimate battle between Titans commences. As Shall Bal watches on, the Surfer and Mephisto become locked in a war of epic proportion. Though Mephisto's spells and sorcery are greater than the Surfer's own cosmic spawned strength, the Sky Rider fights like a man possessed, for he fights not only for himself, but for the only woman he has ever truly loved. Mephisto boasts as he clashes with the Surfer, but even he must admit that for the first time he feels threatened. As the burgeoning battle rages, Shall Bal cannot believe what she sees. Norrinrad survives. He resists, and even more, the man she loves seems to be winning. Indeed, the Surfer now stands over Mephisto, the power cosmic flowing around him, beating his foe down. It seems as though Mephisto may lose, but at the last moment the Lord of Evil turns and attacks Shall Bal. Immediately the Surfer ceases his attack and rushes to the side of his beloved. Cradling Shall Bal in his silvery arms, the Surfer senses no heartbeat, no pulse. Can he have come this far only to lose her forever? There is no forever, Mephisto reminds Norrinrad, not to the Dark Lord. Shall Bal lives, but she will never belong to the Surfer. With a wave of his hand, he transforms Shall Bal into a sphere of pure energy and sends it skyward. The Surfer takes off after her, just as Mephisto had planned. Again the taunting voice of Mephisto fills the star-studded sky, informing the Surfer that Shall Bal now travels to Zen-La, where he can never follow. Norrinrad realizes the hopelessness of his mission, for he can never break the barrier to Galactus. Then a thought occurs to him. Though he cannot bring Shall Bal back to him, he can undo the horrors wrought by Mephisto with the slightest portion of the power cosmic. Plummeting ever further from the great barrier, further from his vanished love, the Surfer returns to his earthly confinement, soaring once more over the lonely planet. Though his body has returned to this prison, He knows that his heart shall belong with Shall Bal forevermore. It seems as though he can hear Mephisto's devilish delight in some faraway place, but the surfer knows that today the final triumph belongs not to the Lord of Evil, but to him. Galaxies away, a dazzling burst of glowing energy knifes through the endless void of space, until at last it reaches the bleak and barren world of Zenla. As Shall Bal materializes before her fellow citizens, they seem to see an aura around her, an aura of life and hope and boundless beauty. As Shall treads upon the scorched earth of withered weeds and ashes, where she steps, the weeds become flowers. She is home once more, and she has brought with her the gift of life. Back on Earth, a lone silvery figure silently rides the crest of the swirling winds, soaring above snow-capped mountains where perhaps no man has ever been. Though the one he treasures most is denied him, though he is forever sentenced to his earthly confinement, still has the surfer's heart been true to his destiny. He has bested a demon and brought new life to Zenla. Today, the surfer's heart soars.